Because future-looking statements are inherently subject to risk and uncertainty, our reminder is that you should make any purchasing decisions or investment decisions based on products that are currently commercially available.
Welcome to DevOps, admins! I'm Jillian Bruce, and right now we're going to show you how quickly and easily you're going to be able to collaborate across your teams as you're rolling out changes in your org using the brand new and amazing DevOps Center. Now, while DevOps might be a term you're not quite familiar with as an admin, I promise you, you're already doing this. You're making changes to your org, you're rolling them out to your users, maybe you even have a formalized release cycle. Well, this is where the DevOps Center is going to change your life because it's going to make it so easy for you to collaborate, to track changes all in one place in Salesforce. All right, without further ado, to show you how this amazing tool is going to transform your life as a Salesforce admin, I'm going to introduce you to Karen Fidelik, who is the most amazing product manager who brought this to life. So without further ado, Karen, take it away.
Thanks, Jillian. I thought we'd start here with level setting on what we mean when we talk about application lifecycle management, release management, or DevOps. Now, these are all terms that refer to the overall process of managing the lifecycle of an application, where we make, manage, and release changes. This process encompasses the 5 phases that we see here on this wheel: planning the changes, making the changes, reviewing and testing the changes, and releasing the changes. Now, what we like to highlight is that this is not specific to Salesforce. This is an industry standard process that's considered best practice when it comes to application development. And at Salesforce, we're working to provide modern and robust tools and products to support this process and to deliver a productive and easy-to-use experience for all of our admins and developers building applications on our platform. For the past several years, we've been building and delivering a suite of products and capabilities that fall under what we refer to as Salesforce DX. And we're pleased to now introduce our newest product addition to the developer experience, DevOps Center. Now, DevOps Center is all about bringing these modern best practices around change and release management to everyone, whether you're an admin, a developer, a release manager, or a business stakeholder. And importantly, ensuring that all of these users can work together to build and release applications. It provides an easy-to-use UI-based interface that allows you to easily track and manage changes as they're made. Manage those changes in an externalized source control system using a seamless integration, and perform deployments through a simple click-based interface. DevOps Center is currently in a limited closed preview, and we'll be expanding to a limited closed pilot in the beginning of 2021. We're currently targeting a GA for later next year. Here we are in DevOps Center. We're looking at the project list view. We're going to start by creating a new project and going through the process of setting up the necessary configuration to use DevOps Center with a source control system and a development sandbox of your choice. We've put a big focus on making this setup process easy and straightforward so that you can get up and running with DevOps Center as fast as possible. And we'll be able to see that in action here. Now, the project manages all the work and changes as part of the development and release lifecycle. The project is also associated with a source control repository, where all the changes will be managed in a central location. When we initiate the new project creation process, DevOps Center automatically guides us through the process of authenticating to GitHub, the source control system that we'll be using. We only need to log into GitHub once in order for DevOps Center to give it permission to access it securely on our behalf. And then we can integrate seamlessly and securely with GitHub throughout our time working in DevOps Center. Once we've authenticated to GitHub, we can proceed again with creating the project. We'll give our project a name, and we can choose to use an existing GitHub repository or have DevOps Center create a new repository automatically for us. Now, this repository will be seeded with the properly formatted project files for use with DevOps Center, namely a Salesforce DX project. Now, this is the same project format that's used by our Salesforce DX CLI. So this means that it's now super easy for developers using the CLI to collaborate with users doing declarative change and release management with DevOps Center. We'll provide a description for the project and then save it. After we've created the project, we need to add at least one work environment, which is a developer sandbox that will be used to make our changes. And again, DevOps Center guides us through this process. We'll give our Dev Sandbox a name and add it to the project. This will again take us through a secure authentication process to add the sandbox as an available work environment for the project. A team manager could add any number of development environments here for use by team members within the project. We'll now go to the Work Items tab. Now, a project in DevOps Center contains work items. Since this is a new project, we don't have any work items yet, but we're going to create one now. A work item is like a ticket or a user story or a bug report. It defines the requirements for the change to be made. We're going to add a work item to request that an appointment request form be added to the Property Explorer page in the Dreamhouse application that we're building. And we'll assign it to our admin developer, Didi. So now we'll act as Didi and go ahead and open this work item to begin work. Once we have the work item open, we can review the requirements, and then we'll start by assigning a work environment to be used for this work item. Now, this is the environment where changes will be made. We'll select the sandbox that was added earlier when the team manager set up the project. We'll connect it and log in to create the secure connection that will be used for this sandbox throughout our time in DevOps Center. The work item is also used to track and manage the changes as they move through the entire release lifecycle. So the next thing that we'll do is move the work item into the in-progress state. And then we can simply open the sandbox here. And because we've already authenticated to the sandbox, it simply opens without prompting us to log in. So now that we have our Dev Sandbox open, we can proceed with making the required change. The requested change required us to create a new custom object with several custom fields for the appointment request, a new screen flow to capture the user's request, and an update to the Property Explorer page to expose the screen flow. We also created a custom tab to be able to view the appointment request records. Now we can test out the flow by entering data into the newly created appointment request screen. And we can confirm that the record was created as expected. And at this point, we could continue to perform any additional testing needed in order to consider the development work for this change done. Now, if you're like most admins today, at this point, you'd want to create a change set to migrate these changes forward. But before you created that change set, you'd need to have first kept track of all the components you needed to put into the change set, and then you'd sift through lists of lots of components in the change set UI, which, let's admit, is not the most user-friendly, to find them and add them to the change set. With DevOps Center, we have a much better answer for you. All you need to do now is come back to DevOps Center, go to the Changes tab, and click Pull Changes. And all the files that have been changed in the sandbox are automatically pulled down. Now, how cool is that? Now all we need to do is select the files that we want to migrate forward. In this case, we're going to select all of them, add a comment about the change, and click Commit Changes. DevOps Center will now go pull all of these changes out of the sandbox and push them to the source control system, all at the click of a button. So cool, right? Once we've completed and submitted all of our changes, we're ready to put it out for a review. Now, a peer review allows other members of your team to review your changes before they're released into downstream stages. To do this, we simply move the work item into the ready for review state. And this will create a pull request in GitHub and a review org where team members can review the changes in a clean and isolated org. Now let's take a quick look at what's been happening in GitHub throughout this process. Now keep in mind that we haven't had to interact directly with GitHub at all, other than logging in at the beginning of our setup process. The whole idea with DevOps Center is to allow you to take advantage of the benefits of a source control system like GitHub, even if you aren't familiar with it. You don't actually ever need to go into GitHub to be able to use it with DevOps Center. But it's also really easy to go explore a bit to see what's happening if you want to. So let's go do a little bit of exploring now. First, we can simply click on the link right here in the work item to go directly into the branch in the GitHub repository. This branch was automatically created by DevOps Center for this work item so that the changes specific to this work item can be managed in a clean and separate area of the repository until they're ready to be merged and moved into downstream stages. The pull request provides an interface for other team members to review the change files and make comments. They can also, or alternatively, review the changes in a dedicated review org that's also created for this work item. This source control repository provides a safe and centralized point of management and optional collaboration. And again, and most importantly, you don't actually need to interact directly with GitHub to make all of this happen. DevOps Center is handling all of this for you behind the scenes. So after the changes have been reviewed and approved, we're ready to promote them to the next stage. So we'll go to the pipelines view to do that. Here we can see a lifecycle pipeline that includes work items that are in the development stage and ready to be promoted. A pre-production staging environment stage, where additional testing can be done in an integrated environment before changes are finally released to the production stage environment. Now, this pipeline has been set up for us by a manager for use by all team members who are working with this project. But don't worry, users can only promote changes to an environment if they have adequate access permissions to do that. The stages in the pipeline each correspond to both a branch in the version control system and a Salesforce org. And again, DevOps Center is going to manage moving the changes through each of these stages, keeping the changes properly managed and deployed to both the version control system and the respective orgs. So from here, we can select our work item and select Promote to promote it to the staging environment. This will merge the changes into the staging branch in GitHub and deploy the changes to the staging org. Additional testing can be done in the staging org, and then when it's ready, the staging environment can be promoted to production. Now, this step is typically done by a release manager, who we're currently acting as here. And once this step is complete, we can see the production environment release version has been incremented and the date updated. Now let's summarize what we've just seen. We've just gone through an entire release cycle, including development, tracking changes, managing those changes in a source control system, facilitating a peer review and approval process, deployment to staging, and ultimately to production. Oh, and we also set up secure connections to GitHub and a development sandbox. And we did this all through simple clicks within the DevOps Center. Now, how awesome is that, awesome admins?
That was amazing, Karen. I love it. I know all awesome admins watching are so excited about getting their hands on Dev Center. I got some questions for you. Is that okay if I ask?
Absolutely. Go for it.
Okay. So the number one question, and I bet in the feed right now, people are probably asking this. When can I use DevOps Center?
Yeah. So we're currently taking nominations for a pilot that will be running early next year. And you can reach out to your AE for more information about how to get nominated for that. Join our Trailblazer community group where we keep updates on the progress of these programs with information about how to be considered for them. We'll be releasing a beta later in the spring. And then our ultimate plan is to release a generally available product later next year.
So, okay, another question, Karen. I know one of the very common tools that many of us admins use is change sets. And we have a complicated relationship with change sets, some of us. What does DevOps Center mean for change sets?
I know how much everyone loves change sets, so I know this is a sensitive topic. Just kidding. Yeah, but seriously, we do intend for DevOps Center to effectively provide the same basic functionality as to what you do today with change sets, but be better. And so we are putting our focus right now and our investment into DevOps Center, and we are not currently enhancing change sets. We hope that once DevOps Center is generally available, that all of you will jump on board and adopt this new product, which we believe will provide a much better experience for you than you have with change sets today.
Yeah, I think that is true. I can already tell people, I have been seeing feedback already in the community about how excited people are to do this use DevOps Center instead of change sets. So everyone is anxiously awaiting. What about other source control systems? Will DevOps Center be able to work with anything besides GitHub?
Yes, we absolutely have plans to support other source control systems besides GitHub. And some of the systems that we're looking at that are on our roadmap include Bitbucket, Azure Git, GitLab, and we're also looking to provide support for on-premise source control systems as well as cloud-based, which is what we're starting with right now.
I have a very tough final question for you. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. I want to know, how can I stay up to date with all of the amazing innovations coming with DevOps Center? Where do I go?
Yeah, so the best place to go to stay informed about what's going on with DevOps Center is our Trailblazer community group. We have a DevOps Center Trailblazer community group where we post updates about like our pilot and our release plans, and also post resources that allow you to learn more about the product.
But I am still blown away by how much I love DevOps Center. It's incredible. Thank you so much for all the innovation you and your team are bringing to awesome admins to make our lives easier. And let's send off our awesome admins a little DevOps dance. What do you say?
Awesome. All right.